channel, everyone. Right, so this is the second installment in my tutorial videos, and as promised it's going to be based on punching. Everyone, I'm going to try and keep it as simple as possible because punching is a technique that not a lot of guys do, and for good reason. I mean, you need some proper tackle, and it is one of these kind of techniques which can be super rewarding, but it can also kick you in the teeth. I mean, you can go a whole day with punching and not get a fish. If the fish are not located where you're punching, then there's just other techniques that's just going to work better. But sometimes, like at my last comp, from the clips that I'm actually going to be playing just now, that was the deal on the day. It was area as well. Area was key. Okay, so I'm just going to dive straight into it. I'm going to talk about the rod, the reel, the line, and the baits. Okay, so I think I'll start off with the bait first. Let's get that out. Now, this is all my preference. Okay, so for me personally, I pretty much exclusively punch with the prawn from 6 cents. Color, that's something you got to figure out on the water. What color are they reacting to? So I'm not really going to talk about color. The reason why I use this is because it doesn't have a lot of tentacles. It's going to break through cover easily. It's nice and slim. I mean, there's not much that's going to hold it up. If you use something with a lot of tentacles on it and maybe a long tail, that's going to get wrapped up a lot of times in the branches or in the grass. So then you battle to actually get your bait through. With this bait here specifically, I can generally get into pretty much anything with a 1 ounce weight. Most of the time, not always, but most of the time. Okay, weight, that's anything from a 1/2 ounce right up to 2 ounces, roughly. Depends on how heavy the cover is that you're actually punching into. So punching is not just a big 2 ounce weight. Punching is even a 1/2 ounce weight. The term punching is basically you punching through cover. So you want to go with the lightest weight to get through your cover, to have the slowest fall rate after it, even though it's still pretty fast. Okay, so hooks, a lot of guys like to use straight shank hooks. They're awesome for punching. You just need to learn how to do a snell knot so that the hook can actually pop up and do what it's supposed to. But personally for me, I just go for standard EWG. Well, not a standard, super line, so it's usually the heavier gauge. I haven't bent one open yet, so until that happens, I'm very happy to use a standard EWG hook. So it's all personal preference and what you have confidence in. Line wise, I use this rod for more than just punching. I use it mainly for frogging and so forth. So this is only 50 pound. And that's why I'm very selective in what I punch. But 50 pound I find is plenty. It's strong. The main reason for the line is basically it just cuts through the cover. You're not really going to break 50 pound line. It's more going to break from maybe getting snagged on something and then snapping. Alright, then reel wise, now this is the one place where you sort of don't want to really skimp. You want to get yourself a good setup. This is an older Satika of mine. It's an aluminium body. It's just a workhorse. It's got a nice strong drag in it. There's zero flex. These frames are rigid as can be, and that's why I'm using this specific reel. Never had a problem with it, ever. It's super strong. You don't really want to use a plastic or carbon based reel. You can, but it will break eventually. It's gonna break if you're gonna be punching a lot, because there's a lot of flex in those reels, and your gears, while it's flexing, those gears are out of alignment. So everything is just gonna wear down faster. But it's not impossible to punch with a plastic reel. You can do it. I have done it before, and I have broken them before. So that's what I'm saying. Get yourself, invest in a good reel. Same thing with the rod. With kickboating, we're using our rods for multiple purposes. So this is a frog rod. But this is a heavy frog rod. So this is a heavy action rod. But the reason why I'm saying it's a heavy frog rod, it's rated for up to 65-pound braid or a 2-ounce weight, not a 1 ounce, which is your standard heavy action rods. So it's got a lot of backbone, more than enough for me, and I haven't got a problem getting fish out with that rod most of the time. But as I said, I am selective from what I punch. Okay, so that's your gear sorted. When generally punching for me is usually when it's pretty hot out, not super windy. Then those fish, they get a bit lethargic, they want to go sit under cover, get out of the sun, you know, and then they're pretty tight to that cover. And that weight breaking through, they're basically giving them a fright is what makes them react to it. Not always, but that's a lot of the times the case. So for me, when it's super hot out, sunny, no wind, that's when I would generally go through to punching if there's something to punch. So that's your win. Where punching can be anything from grass mats up to clumps of hyacinth. Anything where it's thick cover that you got to get through, that's considered punching. Okay, so don't get confused and think that it's only grass mats, because it's not. Any thick cover that you got to break through is considered punching. So the examples I'm going to use now, little clips that I made, is from my last comp at Enander. On this specific day, and I hope these clips are going to help, I found the fish to be sitting under the hyacinth wherever there was branches, like a tree or something, a dead tree or whatever the case was. So you've got to figure that out, unfortunately, where they're relating in the cover. Are they sitting on the edges? Are they way out in the back? Are they relating to maybe a rock pile underneath there, and you've just got the hyacinth over it and they're all sitting on there? Those situations then, like something like that, that's quite difficult, because then you need to have knowledge of the area that you're fishing, knowing that there's a rock pile, there's hyacinth over it, but there's a rock pile underneath it. So punch for it, they're probably sitting. What I did was, it's the easier way. It was pretty easy fishing, in my opinion. Wherever I saw there's hyacinth and there's trees coming through the hyacinth, I knew there's probably going to be a couple of fish on it, and there were. It was pretty deep water though. It was like 8 foot plus. I think the one area was probably, I let line out and basically let it go down all the way to the bottom, and with the rod all the way up, the line was still in the water, so that was probably 10, 14 foot. I don't have a fish finder on my kick boat, so I can't even tell you. So yeah, I'm gonna roll these clips now, and hopefully that will sort of show you how the bite occurs, because these bites can happen while it's just breaks through the cover. On the way down, they'll sometimes take it, sometimes they'll take it when it's lying on the bottom doing nothing. Sometimes they'll take it while you're yo-yoing it. That's what will get them reacting to it. In these clips, I basically think I pretty much covered all of them. So yeah, I'm just going to roll the clips and then I'll see you guys afterwards. Okay, so on this first clip, alright, this isn't really a punch, this is more a pitch, because there was a little bit of open water right next to the left of a tree. However, the reason why I'm putting it in is because while it was going down, they took it on the drop while it was busy free falling, and a lot of your bites are going to come like this. Okay, this clip here, it's a little bit different, you'll see now. So it's quite close to the side, so it's a bit shallow. So I'm basically just yo-yoing it up and down, and then he took it, took the bait. So this one didn't take it on the initial drop. I had to basically yo-yo it a little bit. Then I managed to luckily actually get the fish out there. Now, oh yes, what happened here was, the reason I put this clip in here is to basically show that sometimes color does matter. Well, actually a couple of things, but that's one of them. So I was busy changing back to a color that I actually caught them on a little bit earlier on, but I swapped out colors because it was running low on that specific color. Put it back on and have a look what happens. All right, another reason why I have it in here is again to show what these fish were keying in on. This forms like a little point as such. All right, so first drop goes in, I let it sink all the way to the bottom. Again, this is a good, I don't know, 10 plus foot. So this is very deep water. Nothing on the first drop. Basically put it straight back in, virtually right where I put it the first time. Let it go all the way down to the bottom. Nothing. I start yo-yoing it. While I'm yo-yoing it, and as it went down, was dropping, on the yo-yo, it actually took it. And in this situation, when you're so far deep down, you can't let loose on the pressure. You got to just winch as hard as you can. Hence the reason you need a really good rod reel combo for this. It's super important. It really, really is. It does matter in this kind of technique. Okay, yeah, what happened here was, pitched it in. I was battling to get my bait to actually drop through, and once I eventually got it to drop through, the fish basically just took it, but so softly. I didn't feel a single bite, and I just basically leaned into the fish. That is also going to happen sometimes. Okay, what's up? The next clip. Oh yes, the next clip that's coming now. I left this one in here specifically to show you guys what not to do. Alright, so pitch it in. I let it get down to the bottom. Okay, I actually felt the bite there already, but I thought he dropped it. Set the hook way too late. Way too late. And that's exactly what's going to happen to you if you do that. They're going to wrap you up so quickly. The best thing you can do is basically maintain pressure on it. Move over to the fish, get over there and try and basically get them out manually without trying to winch up with the rod. So as you can see, in this situation, I had to do a little bit of gardening, basically pulled myself into the bush. Luckily for me and the fish, I managed to get the fish loose. He actually popped off right at the end there. But yeah, so that was a good outcome. Doesn't always happen. Alright, this one here, similar stories to previous. I was battling to get it through. Eventually it started going through, busy yo-yoing, and that fish, she just loaded up. There was no bite, nothing there. And same story, just gotta put as much pressure as you can to get that fish out. They can be sneaky like that sometimes. Okay guys, hope you all enjoyed those clips, and I hope it was educational, sort of helped you to see how difficult detecting a bite can sometimes be. I mean, these fish can really be sly. You'll be battling to get that thing to break through, and you don't want to take your bait out yet and punch again, so you'll be just wiggling it, then it'll go through, and as it goes through, with you wiggling it, that fish came up already to see what's going on. So as it goes through, they just slurp it in. You don't even know that they've taken it. You think that you're stuck again, so you want to start wiggling, and the next moment you do this and it just pulls back. So you've got to be alert. You've got to be super fast on these things to get them. As I showed in that one clip where I thought I had a bite, I knew I had a bite, and I waited. That was a big mistake, and I was lucky to actually, number one, get the fish out, get it unhooked, and also get all my tackle back. So it could be, it's a very difficult technique to get into, but once you do get the hang of it, and once your reactions are fast enough, it's very rewarding. I mean, pulling a big fish out of thick cover, it's an awesome feeling. It really is. I think I got everything covered. Well, most of it. I mean, as I said, this is a very basic breakdown of the punch bite for me. Just one last tip. Whenever you go out punching, if you've got all the gear and everything is sorted and you're starting on this, if you go down a bank and you have, let's say a grass mat, I'm just going to use an example now, a big grass mat. Probably the best places to start is start on the edges. Like if the grass mat forms a point, start on that point. These fish are going to relate to points in the grass mats. They're going to relate against other structure in the cover, meaning either a rock pile underneath the cover, or let's say it's a bunch of grass and there's a little river channel underneath it. They're going to be on that point, just above that river channel. They're going to be congregated there. So you got to look for differences in the actual cover, if that makes sense. Once you figure that out, life is going to be a lot easier and a lot simpler for you. Yeah, as I said, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Any questions, drop them in the comments and I'll try and answer you. Yeah, as always, please like and subscribe it as well. Drop a couple of comments and yeah, tell your friends. Share the love, everyone. Take care. Tight lines.